Hey there, listener. Do you know about NoCo Cafe? They are our nonprofit of the month for May. This is a restaurant located in Fort Collins, often known around these parts as FOCO. But the FOCO in this restaurant name also stands for Feeding Our Community Ourselves. Their executive director, Mallory Garneau, was on episode 46 of this podcast. To support the show and FOCO Cafe, check out our website for more information. That's www.themoreyouKnow.com. Welcome to the More You Know Co, shining an audio spotlight on the awesome ideas and people of Northern Colorado. Human connection makes our lives better. Now is your chance. I am your host, Ivan Wayne. Let's get to it. Everyone, I was very excited to ask today's guest about a world I know little to nothing about. That would be postpartum life for athletes and new moms. Many new moms have questions about strength or about their bodies after pregnancy. Coach Mama Kate Johnson joins us from TulaFit and shares with us that knowledge is power, especially for conversations that we tend to shy away from for some reason in society, like discussing the pelvic floor. Here we go, listener. Hello, listener. I sit here in a library in Greeley this morning, and I am joined by Kate Johnson. I would probably say founder and flagship commander of TulaFit.
Yes.
So for people out there who may not be aware, what is TulaFit?
So TulaFit is my business that I started in January 2018, and it is a personal training business specifically for pregnant and postpartum women. So my whole goal is helping women through intentional strategies build long-term function, strength, and performance so that they can continue to do the things that they love to do throughout their life.
Now, it wasn't until I came across your Instagram that I even knew that there was a term or a concern around something called the pelvic floor.
Yes.
As a man and as a young man, it is something that I had no experience with.
Right.
And I have come to understand, and now meeting you, that this is a very important thing for soon-to-be moms and recent moms, right?
Yeah, so the pelvic floor, I think people are, kind of scared about talking about it. It's just down there and people want to avoid it. But we all have pelvic floors and they are super important. So they provide us not only structural support, but they also provide pleasure. They provide our ability to go to the bathroom, and they provide function for us in doing our everyday tasks. So it's really important that we do kind of get out of this mindset of being unaware of the pelvic floor and not knowing its importance and its value. And it's just should not be stigmatized, I believe. So the pelvic floor is important for a pregnant and postpartum woman just because we have so many structural changes going on during this time period in our lives. And the thing is, we're very focused, baby focused during that time. And we're not as, or feel society is not as focused on what is happening to a woman's body during that time. I mean, yes, we know it's changing, but we need to understand the importance of how the pelvic floor, your core, all works together and how it can impact our ability to function in our daily lives. So incontinence, diastasis recti, prolapse, all of these things that you hear are common motherhood problems and that moms are expected to live with, that there is help out there and there's support for women who might be going through these things. So my goal is to make people aware of the pelvic floor, build awareness, know that there's support and that there's help for people out there navigating this season and these chapters of their lives.
So you provide training, or is there a way that women can build a resistance and recoup from the pelvic floor better than if they weren't aware? Or is this just more of a knowledge thing?
So it is a knowledge thing. I think when we talk about the pelvic floor, we just become very uncomfortable as a society. And so what we're often told during pregnancy is either, one, don't lift more than 20 pounds, for the baby, for yourself. On the other side, the flip side of that, we are often told, just keep doing what you've always done, listen to your body, and that's it. We're not really given any other framework with how to navigate pregnancy. And then none or very little postpartum. So I primarily work with athletes while pregnant. And so when they're told, just keep doing what you've always done, well, to them, that means that they can keep on lifting heavy weights or jumping or running. And they don't know how to listen to their bodies because their body is constantly changing throughout pregnancy. And we're really focused on the health of the baby. We know working out is really healthy for both mom and baby, but how we work out and what strategies we utilize really make a difference in how our function, our long-term function can kind of play out. And then postpartum, you think about if you injured an ACL, right? Or you sprained an ankle and you're given physical therapy after those things. You have surgery for your ACL, you repair, you go through physical therapy. If you really have any type of a muscle injury, you go through physical therapy. When you have a baby, you don't go through that. Your pelvic floor is our muscles, is a muscle group, and significant trauma happens during that time. And so at 6 weeks, all of a sudden, we're given an all clear, and people want to get back to feeling like themselves. So they jump back into doing what they did prior to pregnancy, and oftentimes without any strategies to help them regain function and stability and strength, that can help them during these times. And so a lot of injuries come into play, and so it's my job as a coach now who has focused on learning about some of these things to help make sure that they're aware of that and have a plan moving forward.
And that's a huge point because there's physical therapy for a lot of injuries, ACL, all sorts of sprains and tears. Why is there no physical therapy notion for people who literally grow a human inside of themselves and then it has to come out one way or another? And there's no intentional sort of physical therapy process that brand new moms, people who have literally given birth and had this tiny human come out of them. There was not space for a human there before. Then there was, and now there's not. There has to be some sort of internal thing. And I saw from your Instagram, you made a good point. Organs shift around, your muscles compensate, your entire body is preparing just for this delivery.
Right.
And now mom has to recoup after that, and you come in right there, I assume.
Yeah, so I want to help bridge the gap between having babies and then getting back to doing what you love. And there are specialists out there, which I did not know about, and that I want to make sure listeners know about, but there are actually trained physical therapists for pelvic floor, and they can help with so many different conditions. And I always recommend that any woman that I work with or any mom in general go and visit a pelvic floor physical therapist as soon as they've been cleared by their OBGYN at that, anywhere from like 5 to 8 weeks, depending on when you get the green light from your doctor to resume activity, just so that you know your baseline pelvic floor health. You may have had the most perfect birth, unmedicated, one push, baby was out. It doesn't matter.
Folks, it usually doesn't happen that way.
It usually does not happen. That's the dream birth. But, say you are that person and we think that because we've had that birth experience, maybe we can, that gives us a green light to get back to doing what we've always done. But your body has still gone underneath such a significant change, and you've still pushed a baby out of your vagina, and things happen. Your muscles have to heal, they have to recover, and we have to rebuild function first before we can get back to running, before we can get back to CrossFit, before we get back to yoga. I mean, I know you think yoga, gentle, but we need to have strategies in place that help support our bodies from the inside out.
That's interesting because to me, it would seem like once baby is out, take a little bit of time, we can just resume as normal. But people may accidentally or unconsciously injure themselves coming back from that because, this is something as someone who's nearing on 30's doorstep, I have never considered like the internal changes that must occur in order for someone to give birth, and then how it's not like, if you break a glass and you super glue it back together, it's not going to be the same, right? It takes time to put the pieces back together.
It takes time to put the pieces back together. And I think, too, it's very common that once you're a mom, that it's common for leaking to happen. It's common to have back pain, hip pain. And, you're a mom now. You're expected, that's just a part of motherhood. Welcome to the club. And I still remember the first time I leaked after having my baby. And I had him via emergency C-section, which is a long story in and of itself. But, I didn't know. I had no idea how to return back to working out. But I got the green light at 7 weeks and I went back to CrossFit and just tried to jump right back into what I was doing. And it was a very humbling experience. But I slowly regained some strength. But I noticed things weren't right with my body. I had never leaked urine before while jumping, and I was doing that on a regular basis. I remember talking with one of my girlfriends, and she was like, well, you're a mom. Like, now you leak, and like, these are the pads you use because if you want to keep working out, you use the pad.
Forever was what they taught.
Mm-hmm. For jumping, running, lifting, coughing, sneezing, laughing, jumping on the trampoline with your kids.
Being alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then she said, but that's weird. You didn't have a vaginal delivery. You had a C-section. So I don't know why you would leak. So there was this whole statement, like your mom, leaking is now your new normal, but you had a C-section. So that's weird. Why would you do that? So I was very confused. And then I had, I had a host of low back and hip pain, and my abdomen was doing weird things, and I just didn't understand anything that was going on with me. I was strong, but I didn't feel quite right. And so because my birth was a significant trauma to me, like mentally, it took me almost 3 years to have my second son. Wow. And after I did have him, I was lucky enough to find some fitness professionals who had just started working in this realm of pregnancy and postpartum athleticism. And as soon as I heard what they were talking about as far as needing to rebuild a foundation and knowing about some of these common problems like incontinence and diastasis recti, which is the separation of your abdominal muscles, which is 100% normal during pregnancy, but it's when they don't regain function afterwards that it can become a problem. Those things, they started just to click and dots started connecting. And that's where a passion for learning as just much as possible about how we can help restore function and support to our bodies so that we can do the things that we like to do. And after doing that, after connecting with the pelvic floor PT, obviously like going through some rehab, I don't have those same problems that I had. I'm stronger now as an athlete and as a mom at 2 years postpartum with baby 2 and 2 C-sections than I have been at any point in my life. And that is being a high school athlete, a college athlete, and a CrossFitter before pregnancy. And so I think there's just, once you're a mom, you don't have to live with these things. Mm-hmm. There is help, but people don't know that there is help. And that is my primary goal more than anything else, is just letting people know that yes, it's common, but no, it does not have to be normal, and that you can regain the lifestyle that you want and deserve, frankly. So
yeah, because somebody had told you that this is just the way it was going to be. Get used to it. But you proved that wrong, and you have found a way to get stronger. You're saying that you're stronger than you've ever been, and you no longer have the leaking. You no longer have these issues.
No.
And so you really hope, because you found this epiphany almost by accident, maybe.
Yes.
Like you stumbled upon these athletes and you are now turning around and trying to be that beacon for other new moms, I assume.
Absolutely. So I am the person that I wish I would have had during my pregnancies and my initial return postpartum. So I am literally like, I want to be the person that I needed then. So I've gone through several different training programs. I've traveled for seminars and workshops to work with some of the best people in the world right now in this industry in an effort to just learn as much as I can and learn all the ways, frankly, because no two people are the same and there's no one size fits all. That, each person is very unique as to how they can be helped or what they need help with and their goals. I've had the opportunity to work with Olympic lifters to regionals CrossFit athletes, so very high performing athletes, to moms who just want to pick up their kids without feeling like their midsection is going to fall through the floor, or that every time they jump on the trampoline with their kids, they can't because they pee. So I've worked with moms who just want to function in everyday life and go out and have fun with their kids. And it's humbling to work with these women, but it is so empowering to see them take the steps needed and rebuild that foundation and now see them reach their goals, whether that is hitting a new clean and jerk of 230 pounds, which one of my postpartum moms is doing, 14 months postpartum.
There it is.
To somebody now who feels strong picking up her kids and she doesn't have back pain anymore while she's doing that. To me, those are on the same playing field. They are both equally important and equally deserving to any woman. Not, and I think all women are athletes because have you seen a mom carry stuff with kids? I mean, we are freaking athletes, whether you're in the gym or out of the gym, but we all deserve that common ground and that support. We just don't know it's there. And so my mission is to work with people and advocate for themselves, like at their 6-week appointment, advocate for the referral to a pelvic floor PT, and to know people like that there's myself out there or other coaches throughout the country and throughout Colorado who are able to help them kind of put the pieces together and get them back to doing what they want to do. It doesn't have to be, well, is this going to take 2 years? No, probably not. It's building tools that they know how to utilize so that they can take with them wherever they are. I just provide structure, I provide awareness and that lying foundation. And then I want you to go back out and crush the goals that you set for yourself. So I always jokingly, the client that I met with right before the show, I told her last week at our first meeting, she's like, well, I'll probably be with you for a year. And I'm like, if you're still with me for a year, then I haven't done my job.
You better be competing in the Olympics.
I was like, for her, it's her National Guard. She needs to go through her PT test. So that is our goal, is to get her ready for her PT test. And that is an amazing goal. And I'm like, no, I want you to fire me because I want you to feel so confident in the strategies that we're learning together that you can go out there and crush it. I don't want to work with you forever. I want to help give you the support that you need now so that you can take that with you and get ready for the PT test, crush the PT test, and then she wanted to do a half marathon under 2 hours. Go do that half marathon under 2 hours, So jokingly, I'm like, I want you guys to fire me. I don't want to work with you forever. Yeah. But seriously, so that's my goal, is to have everybody fire me that I work with.
Right. No, that's excellent because you don't want them to feel dependent on you.
No.
You are that stepping stone to help someone get to the next phase of life, or whether that's get back to the same phase of life I was before I was pregnant, etc.
Right. And just feeling strong and functional. And this also carries on. I was earlier this week just reading how one of the main causes elderly folks go into nursing homes is because of incontinence. And again, people do not know that there is help for incontinence. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, whether you've had a baby or not, there is help for incontinence. And we just need to get over like it being kind of like a hush-hush topic and know that there's help.
Let's talk about peeing.
Yeah. And like when you're 80 years old, Like, wouldn't you rather know, like, now at 30, 40, like, there's things that you can do and there's strategies and people that can help support you so that, like, hopefully you're not peeing or losing, fecal matter, outside. I don't know if I can say, I'll say poop. In all seriousness, as our population ages, and if this is a primary reason why many people are entering retirement homes, like, I'd want to know, like, that there's help and that there's strategies and things that I can do. And it's way beyond a Kegel. I know people are going to, like, automatically, and you've probably even heard about a Kegel. I mean, everybody's heard about a Kegel, but it's more than a Kegel. There's your body works together as a system, and we're one big pressure system, and it's how our pressure is working together and how everything is essentially coordinating together as a team within our body to help optimize function. And so it's just knowing and understanding that, and then reaching out to people when we just need to make it more mainstream and something easy to talk about, not slap a pad on it and call it good. So
yeah, it's strange to hear from different guests over this podcast just all these things in society that people for some reason or another are afraid to touch or we shy away from, but these are things that impact our lives. They affect our ability to be new moms. They affect our ability to age correctly, to maybe if I knew this now, I'll get to live in my own home for 5 more years.
Maybe.
What value, right?
Huge.
But these are things that we're afraid to talk about because nobody wants to talk about peeing in their 30s.
No.
Or a lot of new moms may have had friends who told you the same thing that you were told. And so they go home and they think, this is my life now and I'm going to settle in. But I just wish that we could destigmatize things because at minimum it's conversation. If I have knowledge of all the things that you're doing, which is awesome, I don't have to sign up with you, right? But if I have that knowledge, I'm in a new realm than I was before. If I thought doom and gloom, new motherhood, this is it, that life I had before, it's over. But if we can just, for some reason, if we can strip away these stigmas, then we can actually have real conversations and people can, knowledge is power. Right?
Knowledge is power. And I think as new moms, we feel so isolated anyway. Now we've just had a baby. Our bodies don't feel like ourselves. We've got all the hormones in the world going on in our bodies. We're not getting sleep. Everything has changed and it can feel very isolating. And I think in this world of social media too, and how we talked right before this episode, how that idea of perfection, you see the perfect post. Oh, I'm 6 weeks postpartum. Like, look at my body, or look how perfect everything just seems. And so as new moms, we see that we're infiltrated with that on a regular basis. And so we feel, or many moms feel like they have to live up to a certain type of image that we've put out in society, and we can't ask for help. Otherwise, we're seen as weak. There's just so many things, and we just need to be able to talk about it and know that you're not alone. It's okay to ask for help, that there is help. And so this is physical, emotional, mental. I deal with more the physical components of things like being a CrossFit coach and a personal trainer. But, I will refer people to nutritionists. I'll refer people out to counselors if they need to speak with them. I mean, there is a whole network of people that can help support, but we really don't we just don't hear about those things in that postpartum community. Frankly, while you're pregnant too, we're just so focused on having the birth that we want. And then we don't really think much beyond that. And where does that leave us? Well, it leaves a lot of women just unsure how to move forward. So people will give up on the things that they love to do, or they'll go back doing, maybe they had a baby 10 days ago. And I've had athletes come up to me, well, I didn't run, but I rode, a 2,000 meters on a rower at 10 days postpartum, or I lifted, X amount of weight at a CrossFit WOD 10 days postpartum. Like, and, I try not to be, if I was like, thinking back, I'm like, I think if the doctor would have told me, I would have probably done it, because you just want to get back to feeling like yourself, because your identity is shifted so much immediately postpartum, it takes a while to figure out what that new normal looks like. And I just want people to know that there's support. And yeah, they don't have to work with me. I just want them to know more than, and what I didn't know after my first baby. So.
And we connected on Instagram, and one of the things I noticed when I was looking through your page is how vulnerable that, and I don't know if you coordinate with people, you've been vulnerable on there yourself, but you also show pictures of brand new moms and posts that most people would not associate with an Instagram page or a fitness Instagram page. Right. And I was impressed. Like, look at this. She's putting this out in the open, and this is giving power, because what will happen is other moms who would never think that would be on Instagram, or they would never think about posting that about themselves, they'll see this vulnerability. They'll see the process in action, right? A lot of times we like to see the finished product, but people really don't want to look at the tiny little steps it takes to walk an entire mile back to self-recovery, whatever it is, whether it be physical health, mental health, and just letting, that comes back to stigma, right? And like just being vulnerable, putting out there and having the conversation. So I want to commend you, because your Instagram page is inspirational.
Well, I really appreciate that. And there's every time I do, it takes courage to post those things. And, I've been working in this realm now, I guess, for almost 2 years, where I first started my ongoing education to this point now. I started my business a little over a year ago, but it's taken a lot of, I don't know, I guess like practicing brave. One of my mentors, Brianna Battles, like that's kind of her tagline, practicing brave, but practicing brave and putting myself out there. And the more vulnerable I can be, in knowing that I'm not alone in these experiences that I've gone through, and the people that have reached out to me as a result, and just knowing that I've helped them realize that they aren't alone in how they feel, has been life-changing. And doing this has been part of what I've needed to heal too, in my own recovery, my own postpartum recovery, but helping other women in a space that I couldn't have helped myself a few years ago has allowed me to heal as well. And that has been really empowering, or just even advocating for other women. Kate, I didn't know I needed to see a pelvic floor PT after baby, and I did because I saw your post, or I heard you talk, and I went, and it changed my life. I don't leak anymore. I don't have symptoms like my organs are falling out of my vagina. I mean, people feel these things, and it really hinders the life that they're able to go out and lead. And just from opening up and having a conversation, we're starting to see that impact in truly changing women's lives for the better. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But through these small steps, hopefully we'll make greater impact. And, some days on Instagram, how everything, you only see certain things, so you feel like, oh, this is so infiltrated, but the majority of people have no idea pelvic floor PTs exist, or fitness coaches like myself exist, or that there is help, and that it's not, you don't have to live with these things. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard. And I joke around, I have never once imagined in my life that I would be saying vagina so much in public. I am a total introvert. And so like really like pushing the envelope and like putting myself out there. And I mean, but if I sit on this information, I'm negligent as a coach in not doing my due diligence and helping women and helping coaches, helping men, really like our whole population understand that like this doesn't have to be normal. And there's just so many things that we can do to help. And it can start, a lot of young women who have never had babies are experiencing these issues. Men experience these issues. It spans far beyond just pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. So, and
it's not just moms, right? It's dads. It's boyfriends. It's men who could find, or women who even don't have children of their own, but their friend just had one. Yes. Just this network of people, if a husband knew something about the pelvic floor and that, these incontinence issues, but the wife wasn't aware, hey, honey, there's this thing. I'm not really well-versed in it, but I know this person named Kate Johnson that I could send you to.
Yes, exactly. And I've had that happen to me. And there was one couple that I'm very close with, but he did not know his wife was going through some of these things. And, as a result of us talking, and she came to one of my seminars and really opened up, and then she opened up with her husband. And he came up to me, and we were at WeldWorks, and he had tears in his eyes, and we talked about it, and just, thank you so much for giving my wife hope with being able to move forward and keep doing the things that she wants to do. He's like, I had no idea. We just don't talk about it. We just keep it under wraps because I feel like that's what we're supposed to do, or that's what is expected of us as women. And I don't know, I'm hoping to break that a little bit more. And there's amazing people throughout the country and throughout the world who are having these exact same conversations, but it is a very grassroots effort to really bring this to the forefront for women's health. And, we have a ways to go with mental health, physical health. It is getting better. Guidelines are being changed. Recently, the new ACOG guidelines, which are for pregnancy, were recently updated, saying that for incontinence, that they would recommend pelvic floor physical therapy. So things are starting to change. There is more awareness, but there's a lot to do. In France, for example, women, I believe it's 12 visits with a pelvic floor PT that are paid for.
Nice.
Yeah. And so in France, as soon as you have a baby, you get a pelvic floor PT. Like, that's just the way it is.
Part of the equation.
Yes, because they want healthy, functioning women back in society. And I don't know, what a concept. Like, why wouldn't we support women, half the population in just everyday things? Well, I don't know. but it sure, in my opinion, it sure beats wearing a pad every day. You want to go and jump on the trampoline with your kid or go for a run.
Yeah, so, or just not have to worry about it all the time.
Yeah, not have to worry about it all the time.
Well, you're doing huge work in our community, and I thank you as a person who started this podcast to bring together the community. So I really appreciate it. And if listeners are interested, they want to know more, they know someone in their life who could maybe hear from you, how can we send people to your pages?
So I post a lot of, the majority of my content is probably on Instagram under Coach Mama Kate Johnson. So kind of rolls off the tongue. That's my nickname at the CrossFit gym I coach at, is Coach Mama Kate. So kind of rolled with it. And then my business is Tula Fit. And so Tula was actually the name of my dog, my first baby, but it means strength and balance. So I thought, what better way to incorporate that into, just as like a nod to her, but as a nod to what I'm trying to hopefully help women gain. So tulafit.com is my website. And then Facebook, you can find me underneath TulaFit and Kate Johnson. And then I do have a workshop coming up, a local workshop on June 1st in Severance at Alien Hive CrossFit. Tickets just went on sale yesterday. So we will be talking all things pelvic floor and core related, and going through these different strategies. So breathing, positional strategies that can hopefully help you start integrating these into your daily activities to help you regain function. And I collaborate with a local pelvic floor physical therapist. So we are there to answer all of your questions, and I am very super awkward and cheesy in person. So y'all want to come and hear that. So, but yeah, really, those are humbling experiences to be in those seminars and just be with a group of like-minded women, all trying to know more and do better. So I encourage you, if you're interested, go check out those tickets. They are on my website and on my Facebook page.
Well, there it is. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
For more about this podcast or our other guests, visit www.themoreyouKnowco.com. We have had so many wonderful conversations, you have to give the other episodes a shot. You never know what you're going to find. Thank you to Trevor for mixing and editing all our episodes. Thank you to Kelsey for our awesome logo and artwork. And Russell Isaac Long, my man, and guest of episode 67, is responsible for all our music used here on The More You Know Co. So grateful for you, my friend. We will be back soon, listener. Who will it be? What the heck are we going to discuss next? Until next time, peace.